see your doctor and ask him about Forsaken. Avoid your medication and specifically be able to help.
Wouldn't it be unbelievable if cereal that looked like this was
See, this is
healthy? That's magic food.
not vertical,
Low carb, low sugar, and with a taste
but this is supposed to be vertical. Ha ha.
$5 off at magicsfood.com.
It's the hottest seller's market in years. If you're thinking of selling your home, your first real estate platform for selling your home. HomeLight will
This isn't perfectly straight either.
And HomeLight is backed by the nation's best real estate
But I might have an easier way. I used this earlier. You know, it actually gives a lot of control, and it doesn't really add that much vibration to the structure. So let me try this here. You have pretty good control over it. You can see if you're parallel to the side in this case. But one thing that bothers me about the concept of making this shape be vertical, so that this is basically becomes wedge shaped. Well, what about when it's wedge shaped from here to here? This part has already gone into the, making this last layer thinner and thinner. Same thing at the back, is be extra thin. I'm not sure how this works. So I'm thinking a better thing would have been to put a 1/4 inch of balsa on here and let the balsa get sanded thin into the plywood, maybe. This needs to be strong, but this doesn't hold anything. It just locates the wing. The strut is what takes the forces along with this. Not to mention this is not ruler parallel. Oh well, my struggle. Well, as far as a ruler is concerned, I wonder where we're at. Well, it's pretty good. It's staying. I was afraid that this would get, this and especially this would get cut off first, because, I mean, if this is the thinnest, then that means this is already gone. Well, it's getting down there. You can see I still have not touched right here. You can see the line there that hasn't really been touched yet. So if we can see if that's parallel to the So I got almost a constant gap down there. So it's gotten very thin back here to the one single thickness, And up front, it's still a double thickness, partly because this frame isn't totally square. But I think I'll leave that the way it is for now. Go on to the other one. Well, I've done the other side. Geometrically, you know, these are supposed to be the constant width all the way, but this corner is wider. So now it's sanded down to sort of excessive thinness, while up here, if I put a straight edge on here, this is bowing, or there's a gap here, and it's still full thickness, whereas this down here is just really thin. So I think I'm going to have to put a balsa slab on here, just so that I can get a straight, and I might have to even try to redirect it so it's parallel from here to here. So I'll do the worst side thick, and then I'll try to do the good side and to make them equal left to right. Part of it was me, part of it was the plan being inconsistent from one bulkhead to another. But this might end up being just a practice model. We'll see. So after last time, this thing had a curvature to it, plus it had sanded it to be exceedingly thin back here. So I added another plywood plate on the top of it. And I went outside with the sander this afternoon and got it more straight. So right now this back half is pretty straight, but the front was bowing. So now I've added a piece of balsa to this, a piece of 16th inch balsa. And I'm going to use a sanding bar, a sanding belt here. First really rough to get it going, and then a sanding bar at the end. Since it's balsa, I figured this will be able to go pretty quick. So I'm not going to sand the nose off. I'm going to concentrate on the rear part. Ooh. Okay. Trying to keep it vertical, and a lot of sandpaper on here so it all goes off at once. Okay, so now I'm very thin here. I've got a straight line that I'm not seeing light through. Do you suppose? So the other question is, how wide is it a constant width? So there's 5 5/8, 5 15/16, 5 5/8. One other thing, I found out that this back part was 1/8 of an inch too wide. So I cut this in two, and I put a wire across and just clinched it. So it's wired, clinched, epoxied with a 1/16 plywood backup. So these things are almost parallel. But my root is thicker here than it is here, so I'll probably add thickness to this side so that the wingspans come out the same after I check for Verticality, it's pretty close to being vertical, near as I can tell with my thumb. So wish me luck going forward.